Hello YouTube and welcome to this first impression video. My name is PrezWaste and today we're going to talk about the big game Destiny. Because this game is big. Not in the physical way or the world or anything, but the release is big. It's a big game of this year, perhaps one of the most anticipated games this year. So, according to myself, did this game live up to the hype in short terms? Yeah, no. Not really, because the game isn't bad or anything. The gameplay is fun, but it's a bit repetitive, and the content is on the very slim side. I know Bungie is supposed to release content in the coming weeks, months, even years, maybe, but you will have to pay for this content. I am sure of it, because there is a season or expansion pack thingy available now, which is about 35 pounds. Or 35 quid and about, I guess, $40 or something, $45, who knows. But still, it's too expensive. But with that being said, let's get into the impressions. So I'm going to have a pro and a con section. So let's go. So let's take the positives first. So the first few things you'll note about Destiny is that the controller feels really tight. It feels like there's no delay, of course depending on what TV you're playing at, but there's no delay to what your character does. The shooting feels very natural and stuff, so that is a lot of fun. And the gameplay is actually a lot of fun. It's fun to shoot things with your friends and stuff, and the strikes, which are instances or raids to normal MMO people, they are actually really fun. So that is a positive, and the competitive multiplayer is also actually a lot of fun. I'm normally not a fan of PvP style things, or in FPS games I really don't like too much Call of Duty or too much Battlefield or anything. So as you can see, this is a gameplay trailer, by the way. This is a trailer, so that's why there's a guy talking. But let's move on. More positives is the soundtrack. The soundtrack for the game is amazing, and the feel of the world is amazing too. But I will come back to more things about the world later, because there are some negative sides to the world as well. But the world looks really good, the game looks really good, so that's the positives right now. I'll sum it up in the end of the video, but that's really the positives now. There's not too much more to say about the positives, because it's much easier to explain what you like about a game and explain that in short terms, and then what you don't like about the game. Because when you get into negatives, people tend to be more aggressive, like why don't you like that, why don't you blah blah blah, and I'll try to explain that as best as possible. So let's get into the negatives.
Buy and sell weapons and gear, and to meet up with our friends.
So one of the first negative things that hits you like a ton of bricks in the face is loading time. The loading time of Destiny is extremely long, and you pretty much have to load for everything you do in the entire game. If you would like to go back to town, you need to load. If you would like to head to other place, you would need to load, and that loading time is not about 5 to 10 seconds long. It's about 40 to 50 or even a minute long each time. So that is the first negative thing about Destiny that hits you in the face. And the other one is the voice acting. I don't know what they tried to do with the voice acting, but it's terrible. And it's the guy who plays Tyrion, the dwarf, that is, from Game of Thrones, that plays your ghost or your ally through the entire game, and the voice acting is terrible. So I don't know what's up with that, but that's that. And the other thing is the world. The world itself, like I said, it feels amazing, but there's so much in each world you don't get to explore. The game really doesn't want you to explore the world. It just wants you to go from point A to point B, because exploring is really unnecessary. So that's a negative thing. You have patrols, which just basically puts you in a world and you get to do a lot of missions. But those missions are poorly made. they're just randomized missions that's poorly made. That's like in every other game. Like, kill so many of that, find so many of those items, bring them back to us, blah blah blah. Like those kind of things. So that's a negative thing. And of course, the length of the story. As it is right now, the length of the story is way too short. The game feels too short. I've played about 8 to 10 hours, or varied from 6 to 10 hours, and I'm already done with the story. And people are telling me that level 20 is max, but I don't see that being a thing. But really, I'm in level 19 already, and this is advertised as an MMO. So that is a problem. So, with that being said, like I said before, the game is fun, but let's get into the final verdict, I guess. I will pop things up next to each other so you can see what my verdict is. So to cut this short, pros are fun gameplay, good PvP, the game is nice looking, has an amazing soundtrack, and has really good and precise controls. So that's pretty much the pros of the game. Let's move on to the negatives. So the cons are loading time, voice acting, and not enough content. And I've said that that's a big one and not enough content. That's because that is a big one. The game is not long enough as it is right now. But let's move into the final verdict. So this is my final verdict of the game. And the reasoning is, as I've said before, I've listed the pros and cons for me. And this is the game as it stands right now. It could be better in the future. You will never know at this point, but this is as it stands right now. So that is my opinion about Destiny as it stands right now. And as I said, as it stands right now. That's important to know, because games like Diablo 3 was games that I grew sick of way before I felt like I should have. But when Reaper's Soul came out, it gave a whole new life to the Diablo series, and I'm still playing that one. So that might as well happen with Destiny as well. We don't know. But I can't, at this point, I can't see myself just grinding at maximum level to gain new gear and stuff, because I feel it's way more satisfying in Diablo to just walk around in maximum level and just try to find gear than it is in Destiny. That's my personal opinion. You're allowed to have yours. So what's your thought about Destiny? Did it live up to the hype for you? Please let me know in the comment section below. And thank you so much, YouTube, for watching this video, and stay awesome.